Welcome to Home of O.Meditation. Books Library knew you can get any of our books through the link display on this post or in profile bio link. Long waiting for you. Chapter 2. The Rider. He did not dismount. Maya counted her breaths instead. 1, 2, 3. The way Elias taught her when panic came fast in the desert heat. The rider sat still at the edge of her light. The moon made a halo of his shoulders, but his face stayed shadow. The horse's breath made small clouds in the cool air. Nothing else moved. Not the sand. Not her. "You're trespassing," Maya said. Her voice surprised her. It came out hoarse and used. 3 years of silence, and the first thing she says to a stranger is an accusation. The rider didn't answer right away. He looked past her, at the water, at the moon caught in it. Then he looked at her dress. The yellow. Something in his posture shifted. Barely. Like recognition. "Didn't know this part of the sand sea was owned," he said finally. His voice was low, weathered. Not Elias. She had memorized Elias's voice. How it lifted at the end of questions, how it cracked when he was lying. This was someone else. Maya pulled the yellow fabric tighter around her legs. "It isn't. But people who come here at night usually want something." "Maybe I do." He reached into his saddlebag, slow, so she could see. No weapon, just leather and paper. He pulled out a book. Small, worn. The cover was dark, but the edges glinted gold in the moonlight. Maya's chest went tight. She knew that book. Elias's field journal. He'd carried it everywhere. Sketched orchids in the margins. Wrote coordinates, poems, half-finished thoughts. On the last page, before he left, he'd drawn her, sitting just like this, in yellow, under a moon. He'd called it underscore Maya at the end of waiting. Underscore. The rider held it out. He still didn't come closer. "I'm returning lost things," he said. "This one belongs to you." Maya didn't move. "How did you get it?" "Found it in a caravan wreck, 2 deserts over." The man who had it. He couldn't keep writing. The words landed like stones in water. Underscore he couldn't keep writing. Underscore. Maya stared at the journal. At the gold edge. At the rider who wouldn't say Elias's name. 3 years, and she'd built her life like a wall. No doors. No windows. Just sand and silence. And now this stranger brings her the one thing she buried. "Why you?" she asked. "Why not leave it buried too?" The rider's horse shifted. "Because some things aren't meant to stay lost." He set the journal on a flat stone between them. Then he pulled back on the reins. "You're not staying?" Maya blurted before she could stop herself. The rider paused. "Not unless I'm invited." He waited. The moon didn't move. The desert didn't move. And Maya, who had practiced silence for 3 years, opened her mouth. "Stay," she said. Just that one word. The rider exhaled, like he'd been holding it too. He swung down from the horse. He didn't touch the journal. He sat on the sand, a respectful distance away, and looked at the moon with her. 2 strangers. 1 lost book. And a night that suddenly felt less empty. Maya didn't reach for the journal yet. But for the first time in 3 years, she didn't tell him to leave. If make it here, do this 4 things: follow this page, subscribe it, like it, share the post. Long waiting for you. If you want the full book, use the link to get in our books library. Home of O.Meditation.